metaphoric code formed in matter, and that which is etheric, the language of light, has been preserved for you on your earth since the beginning of what you know as time. Your Earth's histories are accurate to a point regarding biological evolution. Yet prior to the beginning of your Earth's history as you know it, civilization and society existed. These were the ancient civilizations that many of you know as myth or fantasy. We speak here of that which you know as Atlantis and Lemuria. There were other civilizations, known by many names. The individuals existing at this time were a multi-layered society like yourselves. They were human, like yourselves. Yet you would see these humans as extraterrestrial, for their size, in stature, in height, was larger than that of your modern-day human. At this time, a code was created, if you will. A code to be left for the future incarnations that these humans would eventually become. For they had discovered that the moving down in frequency meant loss of immortality as they knew it, and a movement into a cycle of death and rebirth, that which you know as reincarnation. This reincarnational cycle was welcomed and embraced by many of the ancient humans of Atlantis and Lemuria and other civilizations, for they knew the value of the descent and the experience to be gained from it. Yet preservation of knowledge in order to be able to regain memory was paramount. Therefore, the code of which we speak was created. This code is presented in the form recognized by the subconscious, the living intelligence within the human DNA, the expansive self. The form recognized is that of language of light sacred geometry and the metaphors that hold these sacred geometric patterns. This language of light sacred geometry, this code, was to be preserved, acting as a trigger for awakening and accessing of memory once the soul incarnated in human form was ready for the triggering. There were those from these ancient civilizations that did not welcome the descent. There were those that attempted to distort the code, to infiltrate it, so it may be utilized for the few to control the masses, creating power for those few. Yet unbeknownst to those that attempted to distort the code contains living life force. And whilst these individuals were successful in their attempts to some degree, it was not possible for full distortion to take place, for the language of light sacred geometry would always present again and again and again in pure form whenever a human individual attained the aligned energetic vibration to that code. Such a time was foreseen when the code would be decoded, if you will, on a grand scale, when a great many individuals would attain the aligned energetic vibration to the code, creating a mass awakening and triggering of memory. The intention was for the Atlantean, Lemurian, and members of the other ancient civilizations to be reincarnated at the point of the Great Awakening and to decode the code they had left for themselves. Those from the ancient civilizations knew that once the decoding had begun on this grand scale that was foreseen and intended, that this would create a rise back up the frequencies for the planet Earth and begin an ascent rather than a descent in vibration. Those from the ancient civilizations knew that a portal would then be opened. Many portals. One would indeed call this portal a stargate or stargates into the higher dimensions, allowing interstellar travel through this stargate for beings of varying vibration, density and frequency. This stargate, they knew, would be that which would stretch across time, allowing future versions of humanity, and all that branches into, access to Earth. Those from the ancient civilizations knew that this was the way for all planetary bodies, constant movement from ascent to descent. They knew that this was the way it was. Each ascent creating the new birthing from the experience gained during the descent. They knew that this was creation. Now, in your Earth's year of 2013, at the time of the 13th Baktun, the true occult reality, you have come to that time the ancient ones knew of. Now is the time for the decoding of the code. Now is the time for the receiving of the language of light codes. Now is the time for the understanding of and the working with the living, loving, sacred geometry of pure, intelligent, infinite source. The decoding of the code has already begun, yet the code is multi-layered, as metaphor is. You yourselves are part of the code, and you hold the code inside you. You hold the code within your very DNA. Yet the code stands as metaphor, perceived as outside of yourself. The code is presented when true time is experienced by the awakened one, the activated one, the seeker of knowledge, truth, and light. True time is not the linear experience of the third density, but is the multidimensional quantum spiral time of the fifth density. When this is experienced, past, present, and future are one. They merge, and synchronicity is the marker of this experience of time. The true time, beyond the illusion of linear time. If you are experiencing synchronicity, especially if this comes in the form of numbers, mathematical equation, and sacred geometry, then you indeed exist within the fifth dimension. The more synchronicity you experience, the more time you spend within the fifth dimension. The creating of synchronicity from the full conscious perspective of the third density self then follows, and third, fourth, and fifth density are experienced simultaneously or individually through conscious choice. Within this true time, non-linear fifth dimensional synchronicity, the code, the language of light, sacred geometry, is found. There are those on your planet today with conscious knowing, and in many cases conscious memory, that they are souls that were once incarnated during these ancient civilizations of which we speak. These individuals are the priests of Atlantis, the mermaids of Lemuria, the royal house of Avalon. When the linear time of third density is known to be illusion, and the true time of fifth density is embraced, running alongside linear time, integrating all perceptions, perspectives, and levels of time, then the priests of Atlantis, the mermaids of Lemuria, and those of the royal house of Avalon know that they exist now. They exist in your Earth's past, for they have created that from the perspective of now. They exist within your Earth's future, for they have projected that probability from the perspective of now. Their very knowing of this allows them to stand as metaphoric code formed in matter simply by being. We repeat, their very knowing of this allows them to stand as metaphoric code formed in matter simply by being. These are your masters. These are your teachers. These are your students. You shall see them before you when you look into your mirrors, for these are you. You who hears our words now, who feels the resonance within when aligned words are spoken. If you hold this resonance, if you hold this knowing within, then not only are you here to decode the code, but you are here to stand as the code. The decoding takes place at your own pace, at a pace you are ready for. The code stands in aligned space. Distortion is not held within the code when viewed by a fully conscious member of that code. Metaphors formed in matter are many. Look to the crystal skulls, for their codes are now activated at the time of the 13th Baktun. And those that connect with them, those that communicate with them, shall come forward at this time. They shall aid you in that same connection and communication, should you wish it. For this connection is a grid, a matrix, of which you are all connected to. The energetic stream simply has to be activated. You can do this yourself, or call for a representative to do this for you. They are here, and you will be led to them. You have but to ask. The ancient metaphors that hold the secrets, that tell a story of humanity, of human potential, of interstellar travel and all that goes with it, are being decoded now. The Holy Grail has been found. The sword has been pulled from the stone. The extraterrestrials have landed in their lightships. The second coming of Jesus the Christ has occurred. We invite you to decode the code, to find the ancient metaphors and allow their truths to activate all that is you. Now is the time. Now is the time. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. Gateways within, gateways within, gateways within.